What's up, Arsenal fans? Welcome to another edition of Raiders Gonna Rate. Joining me, as always, Jessinho. We haven't chatted in a bit. It feels like it's been I swear to God, it feels like it's been a month since the last time we did this. It's only been like 5 days. So
pretty much.
Well, it's been longer than that, but we missed the second leg of the year of the Olympiacos tie because, that
who would want to rate that anyway?
You know what? Let's rate it right now. Everybody gets a 4. Done. You stunk.
Over.
End of. There it is. There's the Raiders. There's the Raiders going to rate for the Olympiacos second leg.
Done.
Yeah. So a little behind the times here. We played. So it's been almost 40. It's been more than 48 hours since we played last. So we're going to have to call on the powers of recollection to get through this show, but I promise you we will give it our very, very best. So, tale of two halves. You're right. It's going to be real weird. So basically how this is going to work, at least for me anyway, is I'm gonna come up with a number in the first half. I'm gonna come up with a number in the second half, and I'm gonna split the difference.
Makes sense.
I mean, it seems like it's the only way to do this, right? Because we were so bad for the first 35 minutes of this game.
Pretty much.
It was terrible. Terrible.
It was horrific.
That might have been the worst stretch of football that we've played this entire season. And I'm factoring in a 3-0 home loss to Aston Villa when I say that. I think that was pretty dire on our end, and this was worse. So let's actually get into the numbers. We can talk a little bit about the overall team performance and whatnot. But just diabolical. We start with Bernd Leno, as always. Bernd Leno's probably the guy whose number is going to be like the most consistent. I was not pleased with. Okay, let me ask you. You always have the strategy. So are we going off the top of our head? Do you have a strategy? Do you want to go first? Do you want to go second? What's your strategy here today?
I would like to go second.
You want to go second? All right.
Yeah.
So Bernd Leno, it's a 5 for me. I have to think back. It was the Bowen goal. That was the second goal. The Jared Bowen goal was the second of the match for them. Everybody switched off, including the goalkeeper. But even that said, he recovered, and the ball still went 5-hole on him, as we say in hockey, when the ball goes between, or the puck goes between your legs. It's called the 5-hole. I mean, that's an overall blunder from the entire team. I mean, we can't switch off like that. That's just another mental error, another mental lapse. That really is the Lingard goal. Not blaming on Leno. That's a good strike from Jessinho Lingard, no matter what you might think of him. It's a brilliant strike from him. So not blaming him for that. I can't even think of the third goal now. I can't even remember it.
The third goal was the one that Antonio scored where it hit the ground and then bounced into the net. He bodied David Louise like he wasn't even there. Yeah, it wasn't really a Leno thing.
But they gave it to Souček, didn't they? Didn't it deflect off Souček?
It did. It
did. So,
it did.
But the Jared Bowen goal, he's got to do better there. He has to do better. Distribution was subpar for me, which it's gonna. That's just, again, that's not his strong point. He's not great with the ball at his foot, but we can kind of dive into that more when we get to Arteta. But 5. Yeah, 5. No. You know what? I'm going to give him a 6 because I'm starting. It's like Celine Dion said, it's all coming back to me now. There were a couple of corners where he was aggressive. It's the one knock I've had on him. It's his lack of aggression in the box. He was pretty aggressive on a few corners, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, good. That's what I've wanted to see. So not great at getting rid of the ball, but more aggressive. So I'll give him a 6 because of that. So.
Yeah, I kind of disagree just a little bit on the coming off of your line thing. There was that one chance where I think Ben Rama pretty much dribbled through the entire left side of Arsenal and got into the box, and then it kind of bobbled around. Leno kind of half went after it, and he ran into, I want to say like Tierney, and then it kind of my thing is
it was David Louise, I remember.
Yeah, it came out the other side, and Chambers just barely got to it before Lingard kicked it in the goal. I need you to come off the line and knock your defenders out of the way to get the ball. We're not pooping our pants if you just come out and get it. You know, sometimes he's aggressive, but with a team like West Ham that's very good in the air and survive off of just like scraps, you know, they're going to scrap for every little thing. I needed him to be a little bit more aggressive. So in the Bowen goal, as much as, you know, I know people want to say it went off of Marie and all this kind of stuff, somebody in that box, somebody on that team needs to be paying attention to the ball. You know, this is somebody who has went, you know, and spoken about how we need to be better and concentrating more and more on top of things. And that includes you, buddy. That includes you. You're an experienced goalkeeper. So you need to be looking. You know, everybody else turned their back, but you switched off as well. So I'm going to give him a 5. You know, he did have some good saves, some decent saves. He did come out sometimes, but that one chance that Lingard could have just toe poked it in. If he had just originally taken care of it, even if that meant moving David Luiz out of the way, diving on the ball, that's what it would have taken. But I think they get confused in the back because he's not aggressive enough that the defenders overcompensate and try to get balls that they shouldn't even have to. Leno, come off your line, be aggressive. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah. That's the drum I've been beating for weeks now with him, is the lack of aggression. So let's go right to left. Calum Chambers.
I love Calum Chambers. I've always loved Calum Chambers. I've never understood the hate. Is it because he's not fancy? He doesn't have an exotic name. His name isn't Chambers. You know, what is it? He's a good player. You know, he's always been a good player. He's just not fancy. He plays in multiple positions, and he's, unlike Ainsley Maitland-Niles, he's somebody that probably would want to play for Arsenal, even if that meant being a utility player. That's useful. Whether or not we can afford to keep him, if a Fulham or somebody came out and wanted to get him for 10 to 15 million, I don't know, because we're not in a good financial situation. But if I wasn't thinking about finances, I would like to have a player like Chambers that can play center back, right back, and defensive center mid if we needed. He was excellent in that game. People were ready to slate him in those first 30 minutes because it was going to justify their not liking him because of whatever reason, but he wasn't at fault for anything. He was on the side with Aubameyang. Arteta said that he had to switch Aubameyang to the other side because he wasn't helping Chambers with defense. He was leaving him for dead and leaving him with 2 players, which meant that even David Luiz had to come out of his pocket and save us. You know, all of that was a ripple effect from Aubameyang, not so much about Chambers. He did nothing wrong. Offensively, he kept it simple, which I like. Just put a good cross in. Just put a good cross in that people can get. And the type of crosses that he put in were ones that defenders either, you know, they kick it to us, they miss it, or they kick it in the back of their net. I love it. I have nothing wrong to say about Calum Chambers. Even when we were playing crap, I don't think he was one of the main ones that was pissing me off. It was some of the other players, and we'll get to them. So I'm going to give Calum Chambers an 8. I think he was good.
Man of the match quality performance. Wasn't my man of the match, but he gets an 8 for me. And again, Calum Chambers will always be the kind of player who, as you said, keep it simple, do your job. I don't need to see your name in the post-match write-up the next day in the newspaper or read it on the internet. If I read your name, chances are you probably screwed something up. That's the kind of player he's going to be. Not saying he doesn't have an assist in him, you know, something like that, but just keep it simple. And he does that. And sometimes you need players like that to keep the other players who are on the brink of being world-class grounded a little bit, to say, guys, you don't need to be fancy. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be highlight real quality every single time. The ball just has to go in the net and stay out of ours. And he's done that well. And I know a lot of people, oh my God, Calum Chambers. And I've seen people like, oh, everybody's freaking out. Calum Chambers had, 2 good games, and now he's now all of a sudden he's the heir apparent to the right back position for Arsenal. And
that's not even true, because Arteta had chosen him before he had gotten injured. He was a part of the center back pairing that he chose when he first got to the club, but then he got injured right after. So that's actually not true. And this whole myth about where did that come from? I don't know if you guys remember, but last year's Europa League, I think it was either Europa League or Carabao Cup, he had 3 assists in one game. And he played with the kids. He played with like Willock, and Holding was in that game. Martinelli was in that game, Reece Nelson. And he did the exact same thing. Kept it simple, crossed it into good areas, and he had 3 assists. So the myth that Calum Chambers has never been good for Arsenal, and he was on a ton of loans, so we never got a chance to see him, but he's a perfectly decent player to play a utility role at Arsenal Football Club.
He's the kind of player that this fan base just are never going to rate, because he is not considered one of the best in the world. And it's just that simple. This fan base is obsessed with, we want all of the best players. We want every team to have all of the worst players. And it's just not understanding the way that sports work. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Man of the match performance, an 8 from me as well on Calum Chambers. David Luiz. Okay. Again, powers of recollection here. I wasn't overly disappointed with David Luiz. Like you said, Aubameyang really, there was a tremendous ripple effect of his lack of defense in this game when he was, especially in the first half when he was on the right-hand side. And I think that lent itself to David Luiz being out of position a few times. Overall, give David Luiz a 7. Or give David Luiz a 7. I don't want to jinx it. So you know what? I'm not going to say it. That's a cliffhanger, by the way.
Look, with David Luiz, we know what we're going to get. But he's been good the last couple of games, and I think he was good in this game. Again, if you put David Luiz in, and basically if Chambers has to go and press the player that Aubameyang was supposed to be pressing, and then David Luiz has to come up and he has to go towards the sideline, he's out of position, and center backs don't like to be out by the sideline. They want to be in the middle of the goal. That's where they like to defend. That's where they feel comfortable. So I think, like you said, in the earlier parts of the game, David Luiz looked like he was out of position, but it was just a ripple effect because certain people weren't doing their jobs. After that, I thought he was really, really good. What I've liked about him in these last couple games is that he's taken it upon himself to dribble out of the back, and his passing out of the back in conjunction with Thomas Partey's balls in between the lines. He was finding Saka in between the lines, Pepe, Lacazette. David Luiz was doing it as well. And he was spot on with that. That's his quality. I think that's why Arteta rates him, is the experience, but he also has the quality to pass the ball that we didn't have on the other side. We'll talk about Marie in a second, but I think it was good. I'm actually going to give him an 8. I didn't really see anything that he got bodied by Antonio. Everybody's going to get bodied by Antonio. Yeah. That is what it is, But yeah, I'm going to give him an 8. I thought he was really good, actually.
Michael Antonio and Adama Traore could be outside linebackers in American football.
Not a lot of skill, but I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah, but they're big boys.
There's some big boys,
and if they hit you, you're going to feel it.
Exactly.
Pablo Marie.
Look, you get what you pay for. He's a decent backup. But I think they oversold his passing out of the back and him being this ball-playing center back. He's not bad, but he's definitely not good. In the beginning, when we were trying to play out of the back and when we were trying to build up play, he was poor. When I rewatched the game, he gave away like 4 or 5 balls, just kicking it up the sideline to Tierney, and no way that he could have actually gotten it into Aubameyang. Strange. He was another one that really just turned off for the Bowen goal. He wasn't the only one, but because you were a part of it, I didn't like it. He's definitely the backup to Gabriel, and that's all I'm really going to say about it. I'm going to give him a 6. Not horrible, but definitely not good.
I'm actually going to be a little bit more, slightly harsher than you. I'm going to give him a 5. Passing was poor on Sunday. Again, switched off for the Bowen goal, as many did, but he's one of them as well. And as a defender, as a forward, which we'll get into, I'm not going to say I can understand it because I don't. Stop arguing. When there's no stoppage in play, the only time that there's a stoppage is if the ball goes into touch, and on free kicks like this, the ball has to be started from a sedentary position. So
exactly.
So forwards switching off to a degree, it's like, okay, you're going to get a tongue lashing from me over it, but if you're a defender, it's unacceptable. It's purely unacceptable. 5 for me. Yeah, Gabriel has played himself above Pablo Marie, and look, Pablo Marie is going to be a solid option at the back as a second choice left-sided center back. That's what he is. If we're not expecting the world from him, we won't be disappointed when we don't get it.
Yeah.
So for me, poor game from him. Not so poor that I have to give him below a 5. I mean, 5 is average. And to me, between the halves, it evened itself out. He was average. It's a 5. Kieran Tierney. Just enough already with this. Just, I get it. Not going to take the armband in the mid-season. Just, I'm done with this. He's the captain of this team. He is easily one of the best players in this team.
In the league.
In the league, yeah. I think he's the best left back in the league at this point. There's a fair amount of bias in that statement, but nobody's really going to argue with me. I think he's better than Robertson at this point. So, another man of the match performance here. It's an 8 for me from him. I have nothing bad to say about it. If he gets more clinical players in the box, he's gonna bag himself 20 or 30 assists a year. Imagine that. Imagine a player with 20 or 30 assists in a season, in all competitions. In all competitions, but we got a good one, and we got him for a steal of a price because his value has to have tripled at this point. And I'm not advocating selling him, but no, I want Kieran Tierney to be a part of this club until he retires. Right now, I'm at the point where when he gets 2 years left on his contract, you extend him until he says, you know what, I want to play out this contract and then I'm going to retire. Done. Okay. That's it. That's where I'm at with Kieran Tierney. 8.
Look, I think one of them, Clive said, well, everybody pretty much knows who Clive is. He's one of the most popular people in Arsenal land, but he was talking to Tom and he was talking about our floor and our ceiling and how we need to improve we have a very high ceiling, but our floor is too low, meaning when we're bad, we're really bad.
Yeah.
When you kind of attach that to individual players, Kieran Tierney is one of those type of players where his floor is higher than a lot of people's ceilings. And that's what makes him so good. Even when he plays crap, he's still good. And that's what you need. Like, you need players that Saka is kind of like this as well, where even when he plays crap, he's never as bad as our work. He's never that bad. So
I
think he had another game where I don't think he sparkled as much as we know he can. He was poor for the Bowen goal. I was actually shocked that he was pushed off for that. Yeah. But I think we need to take into consideration getting a left back, because if we don't protect him, he'll be no good for us. Mm-hmm. We need to have somebody that can really step in and that has a left foot that's a natural left back, so that we can rest him, so we can have those 9 out of 10 games that we've been seeing. I think I can attribute his switching off to tiredness more than other players where it's a mentality issue. We cannot question Kieran Tierney's mentality. He's definitely like a future captain type player. So I'm going to give him a 7. But I mean, again, 7 is like a lower score for him. He usually doesn't go any lower than that. So I'm going to give him a 7. I thought he was good. I did.
I mean,
Not as he usually can be, but he was switched off for that goal, so I have to just kind of knock him down one.
the fact is that's probably his floor. Think about it. That's probably his floor.
It is.
Fully healthy. If you had to put a number on his floor and a number on his ceiling, the floor number is probably a 7. The ceiling, he might be the first player for me to ever get a 10. Doubt it, because I don't know that I'm ever going to hand one out, but he might be the player that comes the closest to getting one from me. So
yeah, exactly.
So anyway, you get the point where the ceiling is. I'm going to let you choose. I don't know who it is that you wanted and why you chose to go second. Is it either of the two players that are coming up? So Partey or Xhaka, and I'll just
TP.
I just bought some actually, so I'm good. But thank you, I appreciate it.
So here's the
Thomas Partey. I'm sorry, you meant Thomas Partey.
Yeah, I'm making sure that I always have to make sure I start the narrative on this one because I'm going to defend this man. He'll be the death of me. So I tweeted after the game, Arsenal fans, we can't have anything nice, right? We can't have anything nice. A couple of poor shots does not color my, vision of what his contribution was to that game. You guys need to rewatch the game and watch it with a clear view of not what you expect Thomas Partey to be, but what he actually is and what he's being asked to do in the system. I understand that we want Thomas Partey from the Manchester United game, but he's not being asked by Arteta to dribble out of the back the way he was in that game. He got the ball to Odegaard 19 times. So the reason why Odegaard had it so many times is because Thomas Partey was giving it to him. Those dangerous balls that he passes in between the lines take so many players out of the game. They're so dangerous. He was so vertical in his play, which is something that we're not really used to. If you want 97% pass completion, then keep El Neni. He'll pass it sideways for you. Like he'll keep the ball for you. But Thomas Partey is he's gonna take more risks. When you take risks, sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. Was he poor in those first 30 minutes? Hell yeah. I was mad at him and Xhaka. I just didn't think that they were combative enough against Souček and Declan Rice. I just thought they kind of just let them have the midfield. But once we got into our game, and honestly, once West Ham kind of sat back, our game plan kind of clicked on. It kind of the light bulb went off, and he started to control the midfield. I don't think Xhaka was bad. I just think Thomas Partey was doing what we needed in order to get the ball to the danger man, who's Odegaard. So again, I think there's more to see from him. He stayed on the entire game, which is good. He didn't get hooked off. I know some people thought Xhaka should have stayed on. I disagree with that. I don't think he was the better midfielder. I think he was the safer midfielder who's doing safer things. But I thought he was good. I'm going to give him a 7. Again, he was one of the people that was standing over on that side, not paying attention to Bowen, had his back all the way turned. Totally disappointing, was crap in those first 30 minutes. But after that, I thought he was a class act. So 7.
Yeah, here's where I'm going to get a little harsh on both of them. And they're both, so it's funny because I'm going to give them both a 5. And they get the 5 because for as poor as they were, I'm talking both Partey and Granit Xhaka. So I'm getting into my Granit, and I'm done jumping on Granit Xhaka. But they both are going to get a 5 from me, and it's because this is literally, you were so poor in the first half, you were so good in the second half that I have to split the difference, and it comes back to a 5. Sure. For me, they were probably 8s in the second half, and you're absolutely right with everything you say about Thomas Partey. His job is to get the ball to the playmaker. He has to assist the playmaker. I'm going to coin that, by the way, assist the playmaker. The playmaker is Martin Odegaard. Martin Odegaard's not going to track back necessarily. It's not high on the list of his responsibilities and his job description for Martin Odegaard, but it is in Thomas Partey's case. But then progress the ball up the field, or as the cool kids say, matriculate the ball up the field. Been reading the dictionary. Get the ball up the field and get the ball to the playmakers, be it Odegaard, be it Bukayo Saka, Emile Smith-Rowe, Nicola Pepe, if Aubameyang is on the pitch, Willian. We all know the usual suspects. That's Thomas Partey's job. He did that well. He and Xhaka in the first half were just so switched off to start the game for the first 35 minutes. And then all of a sudden it was like, wake up call. You're about to get run out of town. Not run out of the stadium, not run off the pitch. You're about to get run out of London by West Ham. A good West Ham team. A very well-organized West Ham team. But it's a 5 for both of them from me. Granted, Xhaka was non-existent. As you've said before, Casper in the midfield in the first 35 minutes. In the second half, much better in the second half. Getting the ball forward. Look, getting the ball forward, well, you're down 2 goals. You're down a goal. You have to get the ball forward, otherwise you're going to lose, period. But granted, Xhaka turned it around in the second half for me as well, just like Thomas Partey did up here. Up here. This is where the problems are for this football club, by the way. It's all up here. So they both get a 5. Diabolical in the first half. Brilliant in the second half. Figure it out, boys. I need 80 minutes. I need 80 minutes of brilliance from you consistently going forward. If we're going to have any shot of getting to Champions League or qualifying for Europe, I need 80 minutes of brilliance from everyone. So at least 80 minutes of brilliance. Granted, Xhaka.
Yeah, we got to get some better players to rotate in that midfield, because as fit as he is, he was mentally and physically tired in that game, and you could tell. His passing is usually immaculate, even if it's forward, backward, sideways, across the field. He usually gets it to where it needs to go. His passing was off, and I was like, something is not right. So I kind of put that to Arteta a little bit. I think this was a game that you may have needed to rest. Granted, I know that we're going into international break, but he looked off. He looked off in a way that I haven't seen in a while. That being said, in the second half, he was fine. I do think that Thomas was the more aggressive of the two, making sure the ball got to Odegaard. But again, that was a game state thing. I think Xhaka was just trying to keep it simple. He kind of faded, kind of went to the background. I don't think he wanted to make a mistake, which is probably better that we don't force him onto the ball when he's not 100%. That's when he makes mistakes. So I'm going to give him a 6. I don't think he was poor. I don't think he was so bad. I just think you could tell he was mentally and physically tired. And I hope that, he's going to play for Switzerland, which is unfortunate because he's the captain. He'll start every single game, but maybe he can get some sort of rest in there, because we're going to need him, because I don't want to see Ceballos and El Neni I don't want to see them in the midfield right now.
I would not hate El Neni in with Thomas Partey, but I don't want Danny Ceballos. I'm not even sure at this point. I want to see Danny Ceballos get a shirt. Honest to God, I'm at the point right now where if I'm Mikel Arteta, I may go to Danny Ceballos and go, all right, there, cowboy. The only way you're getting a shirt now is if you go to Lonsdale and buy one.
Yeah,
that's it. It's just where I'm at, kind of with Danny Ceballos right now. And now Neni and Partey played well together at the beginning.
Yeah,
that United game was something to behold at Old Trafford. It really was. So, we worked right to left across the back. Why don't we work left to right this time across the front? So we will start with we'll start.
Really want to start with Aubameyang?
I would no. We're going to start with Bukayo Saka because he started on the left. Aubameyang started on the right. So we're going to start with Bukayo Saka.
With Saka, I think he's tired. He needs a break. He's not going to get one.
Right.
This was not a game that he needed to play. I just don't understand why we don't put Pepe in. If I had to look at Arteta, it really was, why is Xhaka out there? Why is Saka out there? Why are they playing? They don't need to. But I think he had a little bit of a bright spot when we started to kind of kick on. He was one of the players that was getting in between the lines and trying to make things happen. But then he faded. And then, he needed to go. We needed to have Pepe on. We needed some, because he was kind of dead. Yeah. So I'm gonna give him a 6. Not poor, not good. Should have stood over the ball and not talked to the ref.
Yeah.
Don't know what that was all about, but him playing poorly at this point is not about him. It's about the fact that we don't rotate him, and you don't have the same issue that you do with Xhaka. You have Nicola Pepe, and Arteta's going to have to start trusting him.
Yeah. Slightly harsher, but it's a 5 from me. Not overly dangerous. Had a few, yes, he did have a few bright spots, was getting into space well once we started to kick on, as you said. But he tired. It shows. I know he's going to play for England in the international break. I know he's going to get his minutes, and I hate it. I'll be honest with you. I don't know who we play after Liverpool when we come back in the league. But he's going to play against Liverpool. If it's Crystal Palace, which it might be after Liverpool.
It's like Sheffield or something.
Is it Sheffield?
Like
okay,
it's
so
like
that's the game where I'd give him a break. And I'd give him a good – he never should have played. Never should have played this game. Coming back from a tweaked hammy, give him the week off.
He was like limping, yo. Like if you rewatch the game, he's
give him he's never going to tell you he can't play. 19 years old, he's never going to tell you he can't play. So you could slice his jugular, for crying out loud, on the pitch, and he's going to be like, "No, coach, I'm stitch it up and get me back in there."
Yeah, it's Sheffield.
Then Fulham. Okay. So there you go. So there are a couple of matches right there where we need to be able to figure out a way to get him a rest, because he's not going to get one during the international break. So 5 for me, but it's more down to fatigue than anything else. Had his poor moments, but that's down to fatigue. So Martin Odegaard, this worked out well. You always have your strategies, and this worked out well for me. So Martin Odegaard is my man of the match, and he is becoming the priority in the summer, because you can see now that the creativity is there, the passing is there, the vision is there, everything that we had in He Who Shall Not Be Named, whatever, I don't care, it's Mesut Ozil. Everything we had in Mesut Ozil, we're seeing glimpses of in Martin Odegaard, and I by no means comparing Martin Odegaard to prime Mesut Ozil, but it's there. I'm not saying it'll ever get to that level, but it's there. As long as the passion, the dedication, the intensity with Odegaard stays, that part of his game will surpass Mesut Ozil. The vision, the passing, hopefully he can continue to develop that, but he's looking very comfortable in Mikel Arteta's system. I think he fully understands what Arteta wants from him. He's good through the middle. He's good on the right-hand side as well, because he does seem to drift right, oddly enough, very much like Mesut Ozil. This is now the priority in the summer. This has to get done. Martin Odegaard, for me, gets an 8. I want to give him a 9, but again, one of those players that was argued chirping at the ref. Could have tracked back a little bit better at times defensively for my liking. That's just me personally. I'm nitpicking at this now. But I cannot overemphasize. I cannot emphasize enough how important it will be. And mind you, again, this is March 23rd. We still have 2 months of this season to go. My tune may change, but as of this moment right now, securing Martin Odegaard permanently is the biggest, the single biggest transfer that this club needs to make in the summertime. It's an 8. He's my man of the match.
Yeah, I love Martin so much. I think what differentiates him from Ozil is Ozil had no concept of leadership. That's not the role that he wanted. He was just the star. He was the luxury player, the cherry on top of the cake. I think Odegaard has more of a substantial. He's more substantial, meaning like he's not a luxury player. He can offer you more because he has leadership qualities. When I was watching the game, I saw shades of Cesc in his playing style, but also his leadership. Cesc used to drag us through games, and lead the team by example when he was playing with players that were way under his quality. He kept us alive for many years, while he was here. And then I saw that same thing with Odegaard. To be honest, I think Odegaard and Lacazette made the decision to not lose that game.
Yeah.
You could see that even and we'll get on to Lacazette, but the way that they started to pick up the ball and move aggressively with it as if to tell the team, like, can you get it together? We're not about to lose this game. That's quiet leadership. It's not always about yelling and screaming. I do see Odegaard telling people where to go, and he has more of like a captain's like mentality on the field in that respect. But when you do it with action as well, it makes it so much more valuable. And he really gave that to us in that game. Him and Lacazette really dragged the team up. So I'm actually going to give him a 9. He's not my man of the match, but just he's so influential in everything that we did, leadership wise and playing style wise. So I love him. I think he was great.
Yeah. So your boy, Aubameyang. Well done, by the way. Well done. I feel like you'd want to start the narrative on Aubameyang as well.
Whew. Wow, buddy. That was really bad. What can I say? Aubameyang does this every once in a while where he is starting to become more often than we probably like, but Casper-like performances mixed with subpar attitude and just lack of respect for his teammates in the club in general. I mean, I get it. It was never in his game, to track back and press and run hard and all that kind of stuff. But the levels in which he left Calum Chambers and Tierney for dead in this game were really hard, painful to watch. I've been waiting for him to turn it around since the North London derby. That was embarrassing enough as it was, but you didn't show up for the Olympiacos game and we gave you a pass because we made it through to the quarterfinals anyway. Then you come into a game against West Ham, and as soon as we get scored on very first goal, you slump. And I just don't like that mentality of, oh crap, we got scored on, so it's over. It's not over. It's not. It's not over until the 90th minute and when the referee blows the whistle, and it just seems like he's not interested unless we're having good times. He gives off good time Charlie vibes. And I know people don't want to hear that. Yes, he has credit in the bank because of the FA Cup and all that kind of stuff. I get that. He carried us for the last 2 years. I hear you, but we need him. Just because you did it for 2 years doesn't mean it's okay to just stop doing it. And we gave him a pass for being kind of having bad form, missing chances. But there's a huge difference to me between missing chances and just not showing up at all. And I thought he was atrocious in this game. And I don't ever want to see another performance like that again. I'm going to give him a 3. And the only reason why I'm giving him that is because he ran back one time and tracked back one time.
On Jesse Lingard won the ball. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. But a 3.
Look, I think the writing's on the wall here for Aubameyang. It's a 3. It's an awful performance.
It was no performance.
Yeah. It really was. I did go back and I rewatched the game, and I'm kind of like, man, I almost like I was going to give him I wasn't going to give him a pass, but I thought after watching it the first time, and my sort of immediate reaction to it was, okay, he had the ball. He was involved in the attack. He had the ball on his foot in the second half. Mm-hmm. He did track back on Lingard. He won the ball. He got stuck in. But yeah, look, if you don't see that Aubameyang just simply doesn't fit this system, I hate to say it, but you don't know ball. You just don't. It's as simple as that. Yeah, but look what he did last year. He could do that again. No, he can't. The system's not set up for it. What he did last year in saving our bacon in the FA Cup, completely different style of play. Completely different style of play. Arteta didn't have players in that he trusted to play the style that he's playing right now. And in this style that he's playing right now, this 4-2-3-1, at least formationally, might not be his preferred system either, but it is working. Whether we want to admit it or not, it is working. Aubameyang just doesn't fit it. And if he's not going to be the guy bagging 25 goals, he doesn't do anything. He brings us nothing else. He adds no value to this whatsoever. It's like paying for the napkins in your extra value meal at McDonald's. They don't do anything for you. And chances are you probably have some in your car already, or you're going home and you have your own paper towels. There's no value added there whatsoever. if Aubameyang isn't scoring goals. Whoa. So, and he's, the system isn't built to rely on him anymore. And I think there's something there. I think he's a little boo-boo face over that. That, you know what? Look, I don't want 25 goals from you. Go get me 20, but I want 10 or 15 from the other players around you. He still has to score 20 goals. He's a striker. That's his job. Probably got to bag 20.
Let me ask you a question, though, just for the sake of it. You know, they did a true or false with Ilkay Gundogan the other day, and they asked him, you know, well, basically they were asking about his goals and stuff, and he said, you know, the atmosphere and environment around Man City is really good right now, and if they asked him to sign a contract that said he couldn't score another goal for the rest of the season, but they would win the league, you know, would he sign it? And he said, absolutely. Like, he wouldn't even look.
Yep.
Do you think Aubameyang would sign a contract that said we would win the league, but he couldn't score a goal?
Not a chance. Not a chance. And I'll say this. Gundogan is a midfielder. Aubameyang's a striker. I will say this. I'm not sure there are many strikers in the world. Lewandowski, probably the only one who would say, in my opinion, who would say, you'll win the league, but you won't net one goal this year.
But Lacazette probably would sign that contract.
That's what I mean. I think Lewandowski would sign that contract. I don't think there's another striker. I'm not sure there's another striker other than Lewandowski or Lacazette who really would. To a degree, I want that mentality in my. I want that selfish mentality in my striker. But Aubameyang has to find his place within this system. That's the key. If he can't,
he just has to score goals. Just keep scoring goals, buddy, because you don't offer us anything else. You need to score the. If you're gonna be who you are, because he's not gonna change. He's a 32-year-old man.
Right.
He's not gonna change. So you need to score goals. You need to get into a mindset that's like, you know what? Regardless of what's going on, I need to score goals because the light is shining on him because he's not scoring enough goals.
Exactly. He can score goals in this system. He just has to figure out how to adapt his style to mesh with this system. If he does that, if he does that, gives me goosebumps because it could be a beauty. It could be. 3. In case anybody missed what I said, I agree with Jess. I'd give him a 3. Diabolical performance overall from Aubameyang. Moments of brilliance, as I like to say. This is moments of brilliance from Aubameyang. It was really one moment of brilliance, the tracking back on Lingard, followed by hours of disappointment from him. So, Alex Lacazette, my brother. Love this guy. Love Alex Lacazette. I'm biased. I've said this before. I'm sure you guys all have heard me say it at one point or another. I'm a little biased because Lacazette scored the first goal that I ever saw live for the Arsenal. So I'm always going to have a bit of a soft spot in my heart for Lacazette. The thing with Lacazette that you know you're going to get, he's not the striker that Aubameyang is, but you know you're going to get work rate from him. He's going to work his socks off, and he's going to create for other players around him. That's the big difference between him and Aubameyang, is he creates for other players as well. Holds the ball. He fits the system better as a player. That's not necessarily a credit to Lacazette or a knock to Aubameyang. They're just two different players. This is a system that Lacazette, I think, is very well in. I think the ceiling for Lacazette and a full season of understanding the system and everyone buying in and everyone contributing 15 goals. I think that's a realistic expectation for Lacazette in this system. And if you get 15 goals from him, I'd be tickled pink. I'd be tickled absolutely pink. Not quite a man of the match performance from him, but I'm giving him a 7. And it's the work rate with him constantly. He just doesn't ever stop. So obviously gets the game tying goal to, save our bacon there and get us a point. 7 for me. Alex Lacazette, if you see this, I love you. I have your jersey from last year. I have only one jersey this year and it's not printed, but you get it. Love in with Alex Lacazette from the Bearded Gooner.
Yeah. Lacazette's my man of the match. I'm giving him a 9. I think that when I rewatched the game, there was a moment where Lacazette ran over to the left-hand side, got a ball that was way outside of where he needed to be on the pitch. He got it and he turned and he passed the ball really hard to, I think, Odegaard. And it was the type of pass that kind of said, let's go. Let's go. He started to press really hard. He ignited the entire thing. So did Odegaard. He had a big part in it, but he could tell that he was like, nah, we cannot just do this. And he was the one who came out after the game and said that they didn't follow the manager's instructions, which is totally unacceptable for a team to go out there, know what they're supposed to do and just not do it.
And not do it. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And I just thought captain's like performance, should have had 2 goals. He had 2 goals, but they took one away, which was really silly because it was his goal.
That's his goal. 100 all day, every day.
It didn't make sense. It was like they were being petty or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
like, we're not going to let Arsenal win this game, but we'll let West Ham draw it or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. So but he just sparkled to me. Like, and I know it's like sometimes it's like, well, maybe somebody had a better performance, but I just think for me, what I was looking for and what the comeback and the way he did it. I mean, even his touch was so bad last season. Remember, it was like last season, he couldn't turn, he couldn't hold the ball.
Yep.
The ball was like stuck to his foot. It was so good. Like, and I just love him for it, and I just got to give him the man of the match, not just because like he scored the goals, but because his attitude was on point when everybody else's was just kind of crap. So
yeah. Yep.
Good job, Laka.
Yep. Let's move on to the subs quickly. I don't remember the order that they came on in.
Pepe and ESR.
ESR came in for Xhaka. Pepe came on for Saka. Who am I missing?
Did we use all 3?
We didn't. We had to have used all 3.
Martinelli.
Yes. Martinelli came on for Chambers.
Aubameyang.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But it was like ESR and Pepe at the same time,
Yeah, they were close. And ESR came on for Granit Xhaka. Yeah. So,
I can go first with ESR.
Yeah, start with ESR. Yeah.
I thought he did good when he came on, and I think it was just really interesting to see him in an advanced kind of midfield role, like him and Odegaard and Partey together. It was scary, but it was interesting. And we were able to put a lot of pressure on West Ham with him in that role. I don't think he had a lot to do, but I think he was good, buzzing around, good on the ball. They had a weird moment, him and Tierney on the left-hand side when they first came on, and they gave up a chance. But other than that, I thought it was good, So I'm just going to give him a 7. He was good.
I'm giving him a 7 as well. But I like what I saw. I actually kind of like that. I understand it makes Partey a bit the defensive midfielder, but do you say, you know what, we're going to defend with the 4 at the back? Partey, get the ball up to Odegaard, get the ball up to ESR, and then just kind of hang back a little bit. Do your job to that point, but then backtrack as need be. ESR is never going to do what Granit Xhaka does, dropping back into the back line on the left-hand side and covering for Kieran Tierney. He's never going to do that. That's just, and I don't want him to. I don't want him to. I want him attacking. If we need to attack like we did on Sunday and we need to come back, there's something there with those 3. I think those 3 can work in a midfield, knowing that you're exposing yourself at the back. But the fact is, if you're already losing, you have no choice. You need to. So I like it. I give him a 7. I liked what I saw from him when he came on. He was buzzing. He was trying to be as dangerous as he possibly could be. So I liked what I saw. Pepe for Bukayo Saka. So Pepe came in on, I believe, then Auba moved over to the left again.
He just went straight on.
Yeah, straight on. Yeah. Okay. 7. He's getting it. The light bulb is on now.
The assist for Lacazette's goal was right foot.
The light bulb is on. He was dangerous. It's an 8. And now Nicola Pepe will shock me if he ever becomes a 72 million pound player. He will shock me. If he becomes a 60 million pound player, I will be satisfied with that. I'm not saying he's there yet. He's not. The light bulb has gone on for him. I think he's getting what Arteta expects from him. And he's executing that expectation now. We're seeing this more consistently from him. I'm at the point now, I kind of want to see him get a run of games. If it comes at the expense of Aubameyang, I'm okay with that.
Not at the expense of Saka?
On the wing, not at the expense of Saka, no. Right now, if I had my druthers, I'm going to cash in on your idea from the call-in show. But I'm going to repeat my front four, my attacking four in the Europa League final. Now, this is considering if the Europa League final were to be played tomorrow. But this would be my front four. Lacazette leading the line with Odegaard in behind. Bukayo Saka out on the right, Bukayo Saka out on the left. Linking up with Kieran Tierney, doing what they do because they do it very well. And that's probably, in terms of fullback wing combinations, that's probably the best one that we have. And then I'm putting Nicola Pepe on the right. And I'm giving him that run. Now, that also comes with the caveat that I know who I have on my bench, and I also have 5 substitutes that I can use. That's my front four. And I'm giving Pepe that chance in a big game to say, go do it, cuzzo. Here you go. Here's your opportunity. So, but 8 for me from Nicola Pepe. I may have been that change that we needed, quite frankly. Maybe that change, that sub that we needed to get the game level and get that point.
Yeah, I think he should have started this game.
Yep.
And he should have had a goal. Maybe he could have won the game for us, but the assist with the right foot, perfect, spot on. Him and Lacazette have been really combining well. You know, the super pass in the North London derby was really the start of that. They were really good against Leicester together as well. There's something there with them two in particular, but I think Pepe deserves some more time, especially with Saka looking so tired. It's just time. I honestly would probably start Pepe against Liverpool. You know, I just think once Saka comes back from international duty, he hasn't been playing well, and Pepe has been playing well.
Yep.
You know, start him against Liverpool. If it doesn't work, take him out, put Saka on, but don't keep playing Saka when you have somebody like Nicola Pepe on the bench. You know, it's just so strange to me that he's persisting with it. But I would start Pepe against Liverpool. If he plays well, then he plays against Sheffield and he plays against Fulham. He plays until Saka can beat him out for that position. I know it's kind of like Saka plays if he's fit, but Saka's not playing good right now. And that's not really about Saka. It's about he's tired. You know, I get that.
I'm not convinced that he's fit.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest, I'm not convinced that he's fit.
He's playing through some sort of hamstring injury that's so dangerous, you know, but I think Pepe gets an 8 for me. I think he should score a goal, and I think the difference between him getting the spot, I don't think Saka has to score to keep his spot, but I think Pepe has to score goals to take over that spot. There's just different, you know, different requirements for certain players, you know, so if he scores a goal, it's a 9, but it's an 8 for me.
Yeah. And then Martinelli for Aubameyang. I'll let you wrap it up.
Martinelli only got a couple of minutes there. He was okay. I mean, he was definitely doing Martinelli things. I don't really have anything to complain about. I won't give him a 5, but I'll give him a 6. I think ESR did more, you know, so I gave him the 7. I think I just give him a 6.
Yeah, Martinelli didn't have a lot of time to really do much. I think if he comes on 5 to 10 minutes earlier, I think we could be talking about a win.
He should have came on 5 to 10 minutes
absolutely. Well, considering he came on for Aubameyang, he should have come on at halftime at the latest. He should have come on at halftime. But it's a 6 for me, only because it just and that, again, not a knock on him, just not enough time, in my opinion, to really get into the flow of the game and affect it the way we needed him to. So, but like what I saw from him, dangerous. It's there. We know that. So, who was the ref? I don't remember.
It wasn't Lee Mason, was it? It was something.
No, it wasn't Lee Mason. It was
a little short dude.
No, it was.
We have to do Arteta first.
Yeah, you want to? I was going to do him last.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, just give me a minute here if I can figure this out. Martin Atkinson. I know it wasn't Martin Atkinson. I know that, but it's for some reason it's just the name that's popping into my head. It was John Moss. John Moss was the referee. I don't like this business that we get kicked all over the pitch all the time with no cards being handed out. That's really the only thing. The Souček goal, I thought he was offside. I thought Souček was offside. I might be wrong. I might be way off base on this, but I thought he was offside. I thought the goal shouldn't have counted. I thought it should have been ruled out for offside, but alas, the goal stood. And I don't think John Moss was overly atrocious, but I'm giving him a 4. I'm just giving him a 4. That's it.
Yeah, he was just whatever. I'll just give him a 5. Like, the Souček one, VAR should intervene there and make the right call. They didn't, and he just kind of went with it. Whatever. Yeah. He kind of let both teams play. I'm glad that he had the balls to let us take a fast free kick. If he had not let us take that fast free kick after he allowed them to do what they did, I mean, we never get to take the fast free kick. So he had, I know he wanted to stop us, but he knew he couldn't. And he had enough restraint not to be a fool and stop us. So I'm going to give him a 5.
Yeah, fair. All right, Arteta.
Look, I know that it's difficult because we played like crap in those first 30 minutes and some people thought it was the tactics, but let's just be real. Aubameyang being on the right-hand side doesn't give the players a pass for turning their back on a free kick and just being crap, for those first 30 minutes. If I have to knock Arteta for anything, is not resting Granit Xhaka and not resting Saka. I think those were egregious errors in my mind. Xhaka was so tired in that game. He wasn't poor because he's a poor player. He was tired. Right. Saka, you're playing him through a hamstring injury. I know that maybe the physio is saying it's okay, but ultimately it goes back to you because you're the only person I can see, and I don't like it. I don't, because you have Pepe. I don't get it. Starting Aubameyang on the right was weird. I don't know what the game plan was for that. It didn't work. But then Aubameyang didn't work on the left either. He just didn't work. So I'm going to give Arteta a 6 because I think towards the end, he started to get it right with the substitutions. Like, they could have been earlier, but they were the right substitutions. Like, it was just kind of like, do those substitutions earlier. You probably win the game. You did enough to get them hyped up at halftime to come in and try to at least tie the game up. I can't blame him for the team just not starting quick enough. I'm starting to think that it's just this team can't play in Europe and play in the league without letting some sort of my brain fart or mental hangover happen. Yep. And nobody could look at that lineup and think, wow, they're going to get stomped out 3-0 in the first 30 minutes from West Ham, so 6, not good, but not great, not bad at the same time.
My only knock with Arteta is the man management with Granit Xhaka and Bukayo Saka. Not even so much Granit Xhaka, it's Bukayo Saka. I think I can live with Granit Xhaka starting. The Bukayo Saka, just why? I know he wants to play and I know he's been cleared, but why? Give him the break that he needs. Give him the break that he needs. Let him go into, and you know what? Just tell England that he's still hurt and give him 2 weeks off. Give him 3 weeks off. Yeah. And he comes back rested and just, ready to just take the world by storm for the last 2 months of the season. But he didn't. He rushed him back. That's the knock. I'm not even going to knock him for Granit Xhaka. I don't think he trusts El Neni to play against these top clubs. So that's the knock, because I don't like Aubameyang on the right. I don't know what he was doing there.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work, but that's down to Aubameyang, because Aubameyang is capable enough to make it work.
He was so mentally out of the game that we don't know if it worked from a tactical, Because that's what I was saying. I'm like, we don't know if the tactics were good or not from the beginning of the game because they weren't even switched on.
And Lacazette flat out said that we didn't do what he told us to do anyway.
Yeah.
We don't know what the tactics were because they didn't do it.
Arteta needs to stop acting like if Saka doesn't play, we don't win. That was probably the truth, like in December when Pepe and Willian were playing like crap.
We're awful.
But that's not the case now. You know, it's just becoming stupid at this point. It's risky and it just reeks of inexperience. And I don't know. I just don't like it. Stop playing him. Play Pepe.
But that being said, Arteta gets an 8 from me.
Nice. That's the first time I'm more harsh on him than you are.
Yeah. And here's why. Whatever it was he did at halftime. Now, we're both American. I think, and you've played sports, obviously, and I'm sure you've seen a coach of yours at some level go off on your team in whatever sport it might be. And I don't know every sport that you played. I know you played football. Go off on your team because the effort isn't there. The intensity isn't there. And I'm sure they were pretty intense in going off on you. It's a little different over there. It's more easy love, not hellfire and brimstone. So I don't know how Arteta went in because it was either he went in hellfire and brimstone. He brought the axe with him, or he didn't go into the locker room. He didn't go into the dressing room. Where if there's an office there for the manager, he went into the office and he didn't even talk to him. Or he went in and he looked at him and he said, "You played yourselves into this mess. I'm not bailing you out by making subs. You're going to play yourselves out of it, or you're going to embarrass yourselves for another 45 minutes. So you guys figure it out." And that was it. But whatever it was that he did, whatever it was that he did or didn't do, whatever it was that he said or didn't say, it worked because of the second half. Completely different. Totally.
The best football we've played under Mikel Arteta and the worst football that we played
by and therein. Here's the thing. I've chirped Arteta for the system, especially after the second leg of the Benfica match in the Europa League. I chirped him because I didn't like the system. What I needed was a tweak to the system, and we've gotten that tweak. Stop being so hell-bent on playing out from the back when you have three opposition players pressing you, high pressing you. Stop playing out from the back. Just boot the ball long. You give up possession, but at least you did it 60 yards up there, not 6 yards right there. So now the system is starting to work now. It's not just constantly play out from the back. Sometimes it is just boot the ball long and then just go try to win possession back. Sometimes that's the better part of valor. Sometimes it just is. So it's down now to the performances that I've seen from this team over the last the Olympiacos match notwithstanding, because that was awful. And he even said it was awful. So I'm putting this now squarely on the players. You, the players, have the ability now. You have all of the tools. You have all of the knowledge. Now it is a matter of you going out and executing the plan, which they cannot do consistently for 90 minutes, whether it be intensity or individual errors. But we have to fix that. We take out the individual errors. We finish our chances, and we become a consistent team for 90 minutes, 80 minutes. Give me 80 minutes. I understand. 90 minutes. It's an hour and a half. I get it. Give me 80 minutes. 80 minutes of consistent, constantly switched on, intense football. And we're in second place, giving Manchester City something to think about. They're still watching their rearview mirror. Hey, what did Arsenal do? They're adjusting the rearview mirror here. Yeah, I can still see it. They're still back there. Yep, I can still see them. And I challenge anybody that watches this to go back through the results. Go back through the results. And if you think that this team is good enough to have won a game that we drew or lost, Burnley comes to mind, Aston Villa comes to mind, Wolves come to mind. Add up those points and then see where we are in the league.
It's two wins instead of 2 losses for me.
Yep.
6 points puts you in the conversation for top 4. Real conversations about it.
Beat Leeds at Elland Road instead of the 0-0 draw that we had in December or in November against them. Win that game.
Look,
take this team right now as it is, and then look back and add up the points. And I'm telling you, we're in the top 4 with a shout.
Kevin Campbell, we were talking about it. He was like, "We're better than West Ham," and I'm like, "We're better than a lot of these teams." We are, but they're more consistent.
We're better than Chelsea,
but they're more consistent than we are, and that's more what it is than anything.
Yep.
And I was talking to Tom, I think it was yesterday, and they were asking how many players do we need to start, competing for top 4. And I said, squad wise, probably 5. But if we could put together some consistency and Arteta can continue to coach these boys up, 2 or 3. Sometimes it's just more about consistency, playing in a system, believing, mindset, mentality. That bridges the gap. That closes the gap a little bit more than just players. Look at what Lampard had. He had the same players as Tuchel, but because the coaching is different, they're getting different results. Yeah. So let's not just always focus on what we need in terms of players. Sometimes it's just mentality, coaching, consistency, like you always preach. Two players, I think a right back and Odegaard, maybe, one other.
Probably one more. Probably one more in midfield and we're good.
Yeah, consistency, we're up there. We're a really good team, but we're also a really bad team. Got to bring that floor up.
But we're a bad team because, listen, nobody beats Arsenal. And I mean nobody beats Arsenal but Arsenal. End of. We've beaten ourselves. That's when we look back at this season like we did 2 years ago under Unai Emery, when we mailed it in the league. We could have finished top 4. He mailed it in. We mailed it in. We're going to look back on this season at missed opportunities, at self-inflicted wounds, and lack of consistency. That will be the 3 things. Those 3 nightmares will haunt me until the beginning of next season.
Yeah.
So that's it. We're over an hour, but good show. Glad we finally got this in. So
yeah.
Now I get 2 weeks to focus on other things that require my attention life-wise. So good stuff. Appreciate it as always. Tell the people what's coming up for you. I know some big things happening, so shout it out.
Yeah, guys. At It's Jessinho is always where you can find me on Twitter. And tomorrow I'm going to have Craig, Lee Judges, and Dan Potts from Same Old Arsenal on the channel to talk Arsenal. I'm supposed to be doing the rundown. I promised Craig I would get it to him sometime today. So don't know what we're going to talk about, but you can guarantee that it's going to be a good time. So make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you get to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Jess has her own channel now. Still doing stuff here on BG Media, but also she knows Arsenal.
Yeah, but the Same Old Arsenal one will be streamed to both channels because you're also part of Same Old Arsenal.
But so make sure you get out and give her channel a subscription. Like the videos, dislike the videos. If you dislike, the only rule that we have, if you dislike the video, you have to tell us why. Comment below with your player ratings, anything you agree with, disagree with, make your point and known, make your voice heard. If you're catching this on Tuesday, later on, we have Same Old Arsenal USA coming up with Stan, Ryan, and Rowan. So be on the lookout for that. A few other things in the works. Hopefully this week, the Beards and Cannon show, hopefully launching on Thursday. And then next week, hopefully getting the Monday Gunner show started on obviously on Monday. So that's one of those shows where don't ever have to wonder what day it's on because it's right in the title, the Monday Gunner. So that's it for us. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Always appreciate Jess coming on and doing this with me. It's always a good time. We are out of here.